Thank you all. So how on earth do you follow that? My goodness. Firstly, I just want to say fantastic speeches, and also just excellent. There's bravery, there is honesty, authenticity, and beyond anything, just power. And the call to action is outstanding. So, I will do a quick reflection, but firstly, why am I here? First, a bit old, but I'm establishing the Office of Social Impact in Queensland Treasury. And, I've been around the traps a bit. So firstly, Ollie, why do we exist? We want people to thrive. We want to do exactly what you've just said, which is why 2 hands up. But over my time, I've kind of learned a fair bit, and Lil and I were laughing about this earlier. What's the journey that we all go on when you work in policy, government, business, community? So first, I reflect back on kind of 30 years ago, and we used to think, right, systems aren't working, we've got the ideas, we need to change them. And then we would try and change things. Then slowly we thought, actually, we need a bit of evidence behind this, so then we'll be better informed. And it changed, but not that great. Then we finally worked out, 10, 15 years ago, blimey, let's actually talk to people. Let's actually talk to the people who are actually trying to support, service, lift up, and that's been great progress. But what we heard today was it's the next stage that we need. How do we empower people? How do we give people self-determination so that they shape the systems? And that is what we heard this afternoon. So, Jamaica. So we talk about climate change. We talk about what it means. And half the time when you hear commentators, you think it's installing air conditioning. What you brought very powerful was what it actually means for people, what it means for Torres Strait Islanders. But it's not just that, what it means globally as a community, across the globe, and we need a global response. But you weren't just standing here saying, there's a challenge. You're standing here saying, we have the solutions. And that is the point of empowerment. So, what are we doing about seawalls, as an example there? Well, there's encouraging signs, but it's just the start. So I just want to double underline your comment. The seas are rising, but so are we. And please, rise up. It's fantastic. Amelia, incredibly powerful. And can I just call out that bravery? And what I love about it is, firstly, you've gone through so much, yet you're there to support others. And I just in awe, just absolutely in awe. That calling out of being an advocate for young people and what you're doing today is just fantastic. And a couple of just reflections, because, again, there's the commentary around trauma and what trauma means, and we can have trauma-informed services. But a couple of things really stood out for me. So one thing is, this is not a short-term issue for you as an individual, but also it's the flow-on effects for others. It's the people that love you. It's the people around you. So first, these are long-term impacts, and so that was one. The second is, we need a system that responds to needs. And I know the session was, material. In Jamaica, you talked about the impact on livelihoods. Amelia, you talked about the barriers in the system, affordability, and a system that works for you and responds not just you, but responds to the individual and individual's need. Absolutely. So go back to that. What have we learned, or what have I learned over 30 years around moving from great ideas to actually some evidence, and then we start listening. But no, we need to empower. We need a system that works for people, not people that works for a system. So, fantastic. And I look forward to seeing how you're going to be changing things in the future. Ollie, you're here to change the world. You will change the world. Trust me, you will. All three of you will. So firstly, again, the power, the authenticity. We talk about the power of storytelling, but it's the authenticity that you bring to this. And can I also add, for all three of you, it's the hope that you bring to this. So again, you've gone through an awful lot: addiction, ideation, self-harm. These are really challenging issues. To be able to stand up and share that is incredibly powerful. But then your story is a pathway to out of that. And I think there was a really powerful comment around a few things. So firstly, judgment and not being judged, and the power of healing where people aren't judging you. Secondly, people aren't their past, but their future and who they want to be. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. And that is a very, very powerful statement. And so, well, firstly, to everyone, all young people, do the survey. Do the survey. We need to stand up, be heard, and you need to change the system, and you need to own the system. So, I would just like to say, that is the future. The three of you are the future. And for me, can I just say, I came here because we need to listen, empower, and be informed. And can I just say, on a more personal level, you don't really want to be reading the news at the moment. And now and again, you got to fill your cup up. And what I got this afternoon from the three of you, my cup is full again. Thank you.